The problem with modern medical system is that it sees everything in isolation, but things are not in isolation. Things are connected. It's the engine that drives your car. But do you sit on the engine and travel? No. You need to build an ecosystem in your car. You need uh, you need a windshield. You need an airbag. You need a luggage counter. You play your music. So you basically you are designing an ergonomic ecosystem. So this is a layman example. Just to give you a scientific example, there is something called catalyst in chemistry. Now, what does this catalyst do? Does it really participate in a chemical reaction? No. But without the presence of a catalyst, the chemical reaction will either not happen, or it will be very, very slow. See, for example, the decomposition of hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen to the balanced chemical reaction is 2H2O2 decomposes into 2H2O plus O2. Now this decomposition will anyway happen, but when you add a catalyst, potassium permanganate KMnO4, that this decomposition becomes faster. It speeds up the reaction. Now the catalyst itself is not participating, but its presence is now indispensable. It's vital, it's crucial for what you want to achieve from a chemical reaction. This is what we do not take into consideration when we are talking about modern medical science. To give you another example, electron is negatively charged, proton is positively charged, neutron is not having any charge. Okay, so just throw away the neutron, can you? No. This is very, very silly. But the same silly approach we are applying in this modern reductionist approach. Now, what is this reductionist approach, by the way? So this reductionist approach, which is also called a modern medical system, because this is logical, it sounds logical. So this is, every disease can be broken down into biological problems, small biological problems, and then we can eliminate that problem. Leave aside the fact that we do not understand one goddamn thing about disease. What is this disease? We do not know. We do not know that what you call a disease in United States of America may not be a disease in Africa, in Mexico, or somewhere else. Leave aside these things. Let's just talk on this reductionist strategy. How did it actually came? So in 1910, Abraham Flexner, who was an educator associated with Carnegie Mellon Foundation, he was assigned the responsibility to standardize and overhaul the entire medical universities and medical schools all around the United States of America. So as part of his efforts, close to 38 to 40 alternative medicines schools got closed or shut. So the remaining 110 adopted, or they had this reductionist modern medical approach, what we see as medical system, the pharma industry, everything is that only. Now, I'm not reading into the conspiracy theories that this Rockefeller Foundation and Carnegie Mellon and Morgan, they benefited the most out of this standardization process. Let me give them the benefit of doubt. All right, their intent was right, their heart was in the right place, they wanted to standardize and overhaul the entire system. Still, the point they missed was this. In the process of shutting down all the alternative medicines like homeopathy, naturopathy, Unani, everything as quackery, they have missed the valuable lessons that they could have extracted, that could have helped humanity in times like these. Today, in the curative side of healthcare, do you have 8 billion hospital beds? Do you have 8 billion ICUs? Do you have medicine for all if everyone around the planet contracts the coronavirus? You don't have. So while you have this limitation in the curative side of healthcare, why are you going on preaching and giving sermons to people that every form of preventive side of healthcare precautions and these steps, they're quackeries, and you are sponsoring articles saying fact check, this doesn't cure coronavirus, sunlight has no role, these herbs that has cured you for thousands of years, they are just quackery. Don't take this. What do you take? All right, today you take HCQ, hydroxychloroquine. All right, tomorrow HCQ, WHO will say HCQ is not helping. Remdesivir. Okay, tomorrow WHO will tell you that remdesivir has little efficacy. It doesn't cure coronavirus. All right, what do we do? So we go to other things. We tried dexamethasone, we tried uh, prednisolone, we try tocilizumab, and we go on like this. So they don't have a cure, but they are telling you that you do not have the cure. And this is a big problem. The common person is actually struck in this nasty face-off. So because human body is very complex and complicated, and out of 100 people, 5 people definitely need the precision medicines approach, but these 5 people are actually denied. Why? Because these hospital beds are being occupied by these 95 people who are panicking, because you have instilled a great fear into their minds. So they have occupied your beds, and now these 5 genuinely deserving people who need this intervention of precision medicines, they are being denied this treatment. So let's just try to see things about this virus, virus and bacteria and all this. Because this reductionist approach is what it's just like this show in the Hollywood movies. They focus and zero it down on one target and say don't move, and they start killing and eliminating the target. This looks good for science fictions, where we can show all kinds of impossible science fictions, but to see that it applies on bacteria and viruses, invisible things, is actually stupid. It's good to do space research and send your crafts and rovers on Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and all those races and comets and galaxies. But to think that one day we will be knowing everything about this universe and we will become immortal is stupid and futile. So what applies with macrocosm also applies with microcosm, to say that we will identify all the trillions of viruses and bacteria in one fine day, and we will have one cure for everything. This is stupid, futile. This is a nasty and violent way of existing. Yes, $1.3 trillion pharma industry, second largest industry in the world. This is a nasty way of existing in this world. This precision medicine, this enchant, and this lobbies of that fund the vaccines and everything. I'm not talking about vaccines, because if I say anything, my video will get flagged or removed from Google, Facebook, YouTube. So now I'm not saying anything about vaccine is true or vaccine is false. My only objection is this: modern medical system, as I told you, it sees things in isolation and it doesn't take into consideration the ecosystem. So when we are creating vaccines, especially this adenoviral vector based medicines, vaccines, if in the worst case, if you want to take vaccines, I will say the dead and inactivated virus, this approach, I think it's Covaxin here in India, I think this is still okay. But your this macho masculine approach of this approach of zero it on one target and then this reductionist strategy which you have used in creating this adenoviral vector-based medicine vaccines, it is only taking into consideration the spike protein part, because you believe that only this spike protein, this part is creating the nuisance. So let's just add the mutation, and this is mutated. Okay, we'll target this, and we will create antibodies reports, and we will say this is our vaccine is creating maximum antibodies, and look, like this is creating antibodies, and you are safe. This vaccine is best, and we finally have a vaccine. You people are not taking the vaccine. You are anti-vaxxers. Just go away. So when a body recovers naturally, when a body gets infected naturally and it recovers naturally, then the body generates antibody, keeping into consideration the entire ecosystem of the foreign attack, the foreign particle, the virus. So that antibody has a different that is different from your specialized and targeted and concentrated form of approach, where you are thinking only spike protein will be taking this into consideration, and you will think that electron and proton are the charged particles, so we will be neutron is silent. All right, it has nothing to do. No, neutron is not silent, my dear. This is what I am saying. Other portions are not silent. in an RNA virus. Only spike proteins are the nuisance creating things. Other parts are silent. No, there is an ecosystem. So this is the same thing that this is the same point we are missing today in the modern medical system. And 380 trillion viruses, we say, I think there are much more, but we say today based on our records that 380 trillion viruses we have. Out of these 380 trillion viruses we have one coronavirus, and we are dividing the whole world into two parts, this or that, for and against, positive, COVID positive and COVID negative. Never mind that the parameter of saying positive or negative itself is flawed, because Gary Mullis, who invented this RT-PCR reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction test in 85, 86, I think he got Nobel Prize in 92, 93. He was a very flamboyant personality like Elon Musk, and he had his own reservations against the use of this PCR RT-PCR technique as a diagnosis. He probably said he just treated it for research purpose, and he said the quantitative PCR is an oxymoron. It's very famous line. This line is still there, because other papers, I used to read other papers of Gary Mullis a year back, but today when I go to Google I don't find these papers, because Google is retracting a lot of things today. Yes, so earlier Nature, Lancet, Science, these journals used to retract papers that have falsified claims, but today Google actually retracts. Either it sends you get a pop-up article saying 5 myths busted, fact check, this doesn't cure coronavirus, or it will retract your paper or your article when you say that you can recover with your natural inbuilt immunity, or you can recover with minimal intervention. So this preventive side of healthcare people, they are not being heard, and this is one big problem. And this curative side of healthcare people, they don't have the cure. They don't have the cure. Remdesivir, HCQ, dexamethasone, prednisolone, tocilizumab, the list will go on, and a new medicine will come every now and then. Medrol, and these are steroids, everything. They don't have anything, and then out of the side effects of that steroids, you will see black fungus and a lot of things. So this is a very compounding process, because human body is very complex. The evolution from unicellular to multicellular organisms is a very complex evolution process. Millions and millions of years of evolution. And we want to specialize and focus, and we want to use the reductionist approach and target and eliminate. It works sometimes, but not all the times.